Hello and welcome to the Divine Feminine Embodiment Masterclass. For those of you who are new here, my name is Dawn. I'm a master metaphysician. I've been supporting women in business leadership and the deep work since 2012. And this masterclass is actually the second time I've recorded it and the third time that I have attempted. So I recorded it in full earlier today, and it did not feel, it felt very checklisty and very masculine in my body. And I had a goal, a set to like get it and complete it. And the Divine Feminine doesn't work that way. Back up a little bit, this weekend, I was in the same energy. And I'm telling you this because I think this is an important nuance. This weekend, I was in the same energy. I had an opportunity to be off and just be chill, but I promised this master class and nothing was coming through. I hadn't downloaded it in full. I wasn't like raining ideas like I usually am, and I was trying to force it. I was like pushing really hard. Even at the pool, I was like, what can I be doing? Right? I'm like channeling Ashani, and I'm like, Ashani, like come through, like help me out, like how can I do this? And she's like, you need to rest, big girl. And I'm like, rest? I mean, that tracks, but what? And, it's been increasingly clearer to me over the last few days that you can't force the divine feminine. And I think that's it. Like, that's lesson number one. Welcome to my masterclass. Lesson number one is that you cannot force the divine feminine. She comes on her time. Now, it is currently 10:37 p.m. the day of completing this masterclass. You can't see him, but my husband's in bed just on the other side of this camera. And I decided to slow it way down. The masterclass that I recorded earlier, I hit all my bullet points. It was punchy. I had fun. But when it was done, I didn't feel that same sense of like, yeah, that's a fucking banger. Like I usually feel whenever I put out a masterclass. And I realized it's because I was trying to force it. I've been trying to force it all weekend. Today, I've been trying to force it. And that, my friend, is the masculine. When we're working with the masculine, we are forcing things to be the way we want them to be. Now, this is the intro, okay? But I'm going to tell you organically, here's the problem with that. The masculine, the forcing mechanism, the material world, the plane of proof, accounts for 0.0001% of who we truly are and of the power that's available to us, of the infinite potential available to us. And so when you look around and you see proof in the field, you see proof in your world, or when you're like, I have a strategy, I have a structure, or in my case this weekend, I have a checklist. Ooh, your checklist, right? The divine feminine is going to turn her nose up at that. She doesn't care about your checklist. She doesn't care about your strategy and your structure. I'm seeing the Tower card in my mind's eye right now. Like she literally does not, she'll come and destroy your shit just to watch it like all like, let's shake it up. Let's shake some shit up. You know what I mean? Like you think you got it? We'll talk about somatic practice later on in the master class, but quite literally shaking it up is one way to get into the divine feminine, because in the masculine, we get into this like rigid, it's a series of actions that you take from A to B. So you have linear success, and like the divine feminine led business, it just doesn't work that way. And if you are a woman watching this, or you are a man with a feminine core, a feminine dominant core, it doesn't work that way for you in relationships either, in love, life, whatever you're doing. If you're a creative, a visionary, you have a feminine core. And your job is to be as identified with her as you possibly can be, so that you have the most impact with minimal amount of effort and action. All right, so we're never forcing. Actually, the divine feminine is magnetism. She's pulling what she wants to her. The divine masculine is like chasing it. You know what I mean? Get back here. You owe me. You know? And so why does feminine embodiment matter? I mean, look at the world, right? We have men with money. Okay. We value the intellectual far above the intuitive. We value physical labor over rest. I mean, to be in rest is to be taboo, right? Like, I came up through the ranks of leadership in retail, and by golly, the thing to do was to be strung the fuck out on Red Bull and Newports, and you know what I mean? Like chain smoking with your fucking caffeine in your hand. I'm more tired than you are. I've worked harder than you, right? Like that's, what are we doing? You know, everybody's like crashing out, burning out. Everybody's exhausted. We have no connection to our planet. Women have no connection to their womb, their monthly cycles. Men have no connection to their feminine core, to their creative energy, to their soul essence, right? They don't know how to be soft. This is why the suicide rate for men is fucking exponential, because like they have a feminine core and they've forgotten, right? So we see like, if you listen to my episode Endarkenment, I'll link it in the show notes, Endarkenment for Crowns and Chaos, I go really into depth about the demonization of not only the divine feminine, but of the darkness in general, because the great mother, the 99.9% empty space that you are, the 99.999% of limitless potential that you are, is quite literally the empty space. When you look out into space and you're like, oh, stars, planets, ooh, Milky Ways, right? But what is it all drifting in? Yeah, space, empty space, darkness. And if God said, let there be light, what was God? Right? And so we get to this space where like, we have to remember that we are 99.999% empty space. At the atomic level, you are nothingness pretending to be somethingness. And when we begin identifying with this space, we give ourselves grace, we give ourselves opportunity to breathe, we give ourselves to really be connected to the divine source that flows through us. I'm drinking bubbly water, as always. Dawn's so naughty. There's going to be tiny burps throughout this. It's part of my brand. Bubbly water and burps. The feminine core gives us a space to be relaxed, to have fun, to actively surrender, to get creative, to break the rules. Not even fuck the rule. To just throw the rules out, the handbook out the window. Who needs that shit? And that actually gives us far more power in the physical world than when we're working with the masculine. The note I have here says about the realm of cause and effect. All right. The realm of cause and effect, this is actually a Hermetic principle. This is the first time I learned about it, was in Hermeticism. When you are working with the realm of effects, you are working in the you're working the 0.0001% of matter. You're working with this tiny fraction of what a thing is. You're working with the proof and the numbers and the math, right? You're working with the material. And it requires an immense amount of effort to get a small amount of return on that investment. Okay. So what we see is you got to put in lots of time, lots of energy. You're time bound, you're energetically bound, and you get minimal results for that effort. You could do it that way if you want to. Welcome to masculine world. That's the world that we see that everybody's interacting with. But you're smart. Okay, I forgot where my camera is. Where is it? There it is. I'm pointing at you. You are smart. You're here because you recognize that there's something else. There's another way to do this. And this is the realm of the miraculous or the realm of cause. When you elevate to the realm of cause, excuse me, you are acting with the 99.999% of unlimited potential. And so you sneeze and greatness happens. I think Beyonce did this, right? On a beat one time. You sneeze and greatness happens. You make minor effort. It's not even that the effort is minor, because you can do a lot of effort with this, right? But it's creative and it's aligned. So your action that's this big with the divine feminine, when it's aligned, when it's intuitive, creates fucking ripples through space-time. You're gonna see a 10-ton reward on that, right? Versus when you take, same notes, right? Like earlier, same notes. I'm giving the same presentation, but earlier I did this and like I got done and I was like, this is a fucking bummer. It doesn't feel good in my body. It's unaligned action. And it doesn't matter, like the same notes, right? It's the energy I'm moving with. Right now it's 10:37. I'm feeling lit up to record this. It's illogical for me to be recording this at 11 o'clock at night, right? And I'm recording it because I'm moving in alignment. My soul said now. Okay? I've been waiting on that all fucking weekend. You know what I'm saying? Lesson for you and me. I should have just waited till I heard the call. That's where people have a hard time, though, in the divine feminine, is you have to wait till you hear the call. Yeah, it fucks with the ego. Fucks with the control mechanism that's like, no, I gotta take a certain series of actions to create a certain result. I turn into a 40s man with from the 1940s when I do this. I don't know, like, have you seen the stock market, Bill? You know what I mean? Like, I don't, all these personas. So you're dealing with unlimited potential, right? You can take aligned action and create massive reverberation in the field, or you can take massive action that's unaligned and you create no reverberation in the field. You get you get minuscule, mediocre results at best, right? Why is this important? Why is it important to me? Listen, here's the thing. I want wealth in the hands of women. I want wealth in the hands of goddess-aligned men. I want wealth in the hands of good people. People who give a fuck about people's mental health. They care about their emotional health. They care about their physical health, for that matter. People who care about community. I want wealth in the hands of a matriarchal or matrilineal society, because I believe that's how we heal humanity. All right. When we are dealing with the realm of cause, we are in the body. Now, this is the difference, all right? Because the masculine, I want you to remember this. The masculine is men, mind, money. Masculine. Men, mind, money. All three of those things are the same energy. All right. If you are a feminine core masculine watching this right now, and you're partnered with another man, one of you is going to hold a more masculine role than the other. Okay. It can be pretty balanced, but one of you is going to be a little more masculine than the other. Or, and the same thing with women too, but more so with same-sex couples. Even if you're a woman right now who loves other women, same thing. Okay, one of you is going to be slightly more masculine, the other one's going to be slightly more feminine. And even if that's not the case and you're both balanced, there will be times in your relationship where you're more masculine, she's more feminine, or he's more feminine, you're more masculine, right? That's just the two dance. Listen, everything on this planet, we live on a planet of polarity, right? Literal polarity, north, south, literal poles. And this is negative and positive, masculine and feminine. And they're always interplaying with each other. When one is active, the other is set to passive, period. Okay? They can't both be active at the same time or they repel each other. So one is active, one is passive. Okay? When you are in the body, you're in the heart. You're in your feminine. Men, money, mind. The mind is masculine. The mind's a problem solver. It wants to figure things out. Have you seen the stock market, Bill? I feel like I should be doing finger guns when I do that. Have you seen the stock market, Bill? Men, money, mind, okay? When you're in the heart and you are in tune with the body, it's giving kundalini, it's giving um, that circulatory system, it's giving the nervous system. Now you're in the divine feminine. The divine feminine is body presence, it is pleasure led. You cannot be tapped into your intuition and decapitated from the body. And we see a lot of women these days who are decapitated because they got to hustle, they got to grind, they got to take care of themselves, they got to take care of the kids. They're solely responsible for their entire house and the man, right? They're raising their husbands. Like they become mother, you know what I mean? And we'll talk about that in the wounded feminine, why she assumes that role and why he wants her to when he's in wounded masculine. But anyway, excuse me. The power of the intuition is being in the body. The body is the one that speaks intuitively. The subconscious, everything below subconscious, everything below the consciousness, also accounts for 99.999% of who you truly are. And I'll give you a stat on this. Listen to this shit. This shit, I've never been the same since I heard this, okay? The conscious mind processes 40 bits of information per second. 40 bits. Are you ready for this? The subconscious mind processes 11 billion bits of information per second. 11 billion bits, you guys, compared to 40, not 40,000, okay? No more ceros. Solo 40, okay? I don't know how to say 40 in Spanish, but I really wanted to. Only 40 bits. So you are the effects of your subconscious, whether you want to believe you are or not. This is where the shadow self lives. This is where your deep, dark secrets live. This is where all your patterns, habits, the mechanisms of the body, like keeping your heart beating, all these things, that's where they exist. So you don't have to consciously be processing them. But at the end of the day, it's an incredible problem solver, right? If it's processing 40 billion bits of information, it knows how many specks of dust are on the floor right now. Which one do you want to use to solve problems? Which one do you want to listen to? Which intelligent force do you want to be informed by? Now, this, I had a masterclass many years ago, the subconscious, the superconscious, and the conscious, the difference between the three levels. The superconscious is immeasurable. We can't measure that, okay? We can't measure the subconscious. We can't measure the superconscious. We know that it exists, but it's kind of like dark matter. We're like, okay, we know it's there or not there, but we don't have tools to measure the not there-ness of it, right? There are all these different dimensions of consciousness you can tap into. Most people, they're using the 40 bits. That's it. All right. So we want you in the body. We want you interfacing with the subconscious, with the intuition, with the intelligence of the body. This mechanism is the most advanced, still to this day, supercomputer on the planet. Some of us are out here talking to Chat GPT when we're ignoring the fact that, like, your heart knows exactly what it wants. And it knows exactly the path it needs to take to go there. All right. I want to talk to you about the difference between the fallen angles of the masculine and the feminine, the wounded feminine, wounded masculine, and the risen aspects of the divine feminine, divine masculine. And I say this because I want to paint a picture for you of how it looks in each, so that you can start to see it in yourself and see it in others. Okay? So we're going to start with the wounded feminine. Wounded feminine energy, first and foremost, needs saving. This is old school Disney princess, right? She needs a knight in shining armor to come give her a kiss while she's asleep so that everything becomes perfect. She needs saving. She also needs an authority figure. Now, this works really well if you're in coaching or consulting or in leadership positions that are primarily unconscious, because people seek authority figures. And so, because you're in wounded feminine, you're also in wounded masculine. Okay. You're always going to be in both, right? Like if you're in divine, you're going to be in both. If you're in wounded, you're in both. Okay. And that's because the divine's not going to, it doesn't play that shit. So they don't jihad, like they don't match. You know what I'm saying? So when you're in wounded feminine, you need saving. This is that savior complex too. I'm seeing like when Christians are like, they needed an external savior, and so then they take it on themselves to like go and save the rest of the world by colonizing them and oppressing them and stripping them of their culture and their, you know what I'm saying? Like, right? They need saving, and on the other side of that, they feel like they are the savior. It gives you like a inflated ego. I'm seeing like there's no such thing as a superiority complex. It's always only an inferiority complex. Yeah, chew on that one. So they need saving. They're looking for authority figures. This is why they love Sky Daddy. They're the perfect candidates for Sky Daddy religions. They're the perfect candidates for like quick fixes. Like I'm seeing savior marketing for some reason is the words that want to come through here. All right, I think you get it. All right, princess energy. They're helpless. So these people are helpless. Even when they're presented, they can't be coached. Right? They can't be healed. This is why it's a waste of your energy to try and heal anybody. Even the Shanti Crystals, like I've never lifted anybody an inch toward enlightenment. You do it yourself or it doesn't get done. You know what I mean? You can't heal somebody who isn't ready, who doesn't want to heal. They're helpless. And that's the story that they love. So they keep it and they protect it. They say mediocrity will fight for its life, right? They're like, no, it's mine. I'm the victim. Look, see, right? They're helpless. And they're not willing to, like, you can coach them all day long and like everything you give them, they're going to have proof in their field. They're going to have a reason why that won't work for them. Okay. They live in the shadow realms. If you've taken my shadow alchemy course, it's also included in the Mysterium. They just dwell there. It's giving child, prostitute, victim, saboteur. Okay. Had something in my fingernail. I hate that. They just dwell in the shadow realms. Clingy and needy. The parable I always use here is like high school lovers, right? We've all been in high school and like there's that boy that you love, that guy. You're like, oh, I love that guy. And so you write him love notes every day, and you every morning you're there 15 minutes early waiting in his favorite spot, wearing his jersey, like, and the more you dote on him, the more repulsive you become. He wants nothing to do with you, right? You're waiting outside of his class. You're like, hey, Pookie, right? No, I've never done this. You've never done this. But like we've seen it in movies, right? Like it's that clingy, weird girl energy where it's like, hey, Pookie, like that. They hate that. My husband's looking at me right now. What, you think I've done that? I'm being outed. Look how I'm blushing. I probably did at some point. Clingy, needy, and it becomes repulsive. All right, he doesn't want anything to do with you. Blah. And what's funny is that who's he looking at? Susie Q, who is involved in her own, she's got her own stuff. She's got extracurricular activities. She is like captain of the chess team, whatever. She's doing her own fucking thing. She's completely unbothered with him. He wants her. Right? And so like in the divine feminine, I'll tell you, this clingy, needy energy of like, somebody just please love me. I'll be so good to you. There's a coach that's like always talking about like the less value you add, the higher level, like the more people will pay you to work with you. It's that same energy, right? She chases. She doesn't attract, she chases. It's that same energy. And she's desperate. I saw this on a coaching call the other day. This woman, she's a relationship coach, right? And she's spending like $3,000 a month in ads, and she's like hyper focused on the ad spend and like the return on investment, and like the whole time she's talking, like her throat is super constricted, like the muscles in her throat are super tense. She's like leaning all the way forward. She's a relationship coach, so you would think like she's got this dialed in. Nope. Nope. Hyper masculine, wounded masculine. Everybody else on the call is like asking like one question. It's a group call. Like people are asking like one question, they get their answer, they're like, thank you. She's asked like 20 questions. She keeps cutting people off to like ask her questions. She's like leaning all the way forward. Her face is like super bright red. And she's like, I just needed to work. I just needed to work. Right? And like it fucking giving anxiety to everybody in the room. Like, I'm stressed for you right now. You know what I mean? That's that like desperate energy that's just very repulsive. It's gross. Like, I don't want to be around that. You know what I mean? I certainly don't want to pay you to teach me to be attractive. What? Right? And so you have to be mindful when you're in that energy of desperation, whether it's for money or it's for a goal, you're repelling it. It doesn't want anything to do with you, right? The wounded feminine can't hold health, wealth, pleasure, purpose, power, precision, any other P words I could throw in there. She can't hold it. It's like a bowl. It's actually your Swadhisthana, right? It's your sacral chakra, and it's a bowl. And everything that pours in pours out because it's tilted. So like money's coming in, it just goes right out. This is that energy of like, I sign a big client on, and then all of a sudden the money's just gone. That's Swadhisthana. That's a sacral chakra. I don't want to use the word block, like wounding. It's a sacral chakra wounding. All right. She can't hold health, wealth, pleasure. She's sick all the time. She's pleasure chasing. This is that energy of like, so it's like addiction and like numbness, right? Like we're only ever addicted to things because we feel numb in our regular lives. She's emotionally explosive and unsafe, and we see this as well with addiction. People who need alcohol to turn their brain off, or they need alcohol to like cope with things, like they need alcohol to be in social situations. Those people are generally emotionally explosive or unavailable or like dismissive until they start drinking, right? And actually, my lover, he's studying with the divine masculine right now, and he told me that beer, music, and something else are all feminine, right? Like music is pretty obvious because it calls on the emotional body. Beer, when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's a mother wound, right? That's a mother wound. All right. Emotionally explosive and unsafe is also like caregiving, right? Like if you're a mom, you know, and you're like super triggered super easily, so it's unsafe. When you get emotional, it's unsafe. You probably have experienced this with your own parents, probably talking to a lot of millennials right now. Swampy boundaries. So she has swampy or non-existent boundaries, and that's first and foremost with herself, because we can only ever set boundaries for us, and we are responsible for upholding them. Okay. And so when you have swampy boundaries or no boundaries, and this looks like if you're taking sales calls, you have 15-minute discovery calls, right? Maybe like one of them goes over, it's like 20 minutes. Not a big deal, right? If every single one you take ends up being 30, 45, I've even seen people be like, we went for 2 hours. And they say that like it's yes, it's awesome. It's not. Like, you demonstrated that you have shitty boundaries, and you demonstrated that you don't value your time or their time. And you demonstrated that you don't value the walls of the container, and that they can just be busted through. What do you think it's going to be what do you think it's going to look like if you set a tone with a client? You have a 15-minute sales call and it runs for 2 hours. How's that person going to treat your time if they pay you? And they probably won't, because you gave it all to them on the call, and you showed them how deeply undervalued your work is to you, right? It's always and only our responsibility to uphold our boundaries. She serves the masculine. This one's big, y'all. The wounded feminine, when we get to the high feminine, you're going to see a big shift here. The wounded feminine serves the masculine. That means the 99.999% of potential energy serves the 0.0001% of matter. Does that even make sense? No. No, it doesn't. That's silly. Okay. And that comes from that same desperation, that same like clingy, needy, chasing vibe. She's focused on how it looks, not how it is. I went through a whole stint in this earlier this year of like how it looks, how it is more important than how it looks, right? And I didn't know it then, but now I do. It's that performative energy. She wants it, she wants to be desirable. Somebody said the other day on one of my posts, I posted a picture of me wearing like a nice Calvin Klein, um, like pencil skirt business mock neck dress. And you girl, listen, I come up from corporate America, okay? Like I can slay. All right. Do I do that often? No, I don't like super like tight constricting clothing. Not my gig. And that's not how I show up in the world either. Like if you ever chill with me, it's loose. It's flowy. That's how I like to be. These pictures are old. Okay. But I posted it because I look nice and your girl got hips. You know what I'm saying? So I was putting them out. And so I posted the picture with this like awesome post about like being in your divine feminine. And somebody who knows me a little, not a lot, she knows me a little from here in town. She's like, I always wondered why you wore sweatpants. You know, got to do both. And I said back to her that the divine feminine is an essence. It is not a wardrobe. If you take anything from this fucking webinar, I want you to know divine feminine is not an energy that can be faked with lipstick and a push-up bra. Divine feminine energy might not even be wearing a fucking bra. I don't care about lipstick. I'm literally wearing my husband's t-shirt right now. And like you could catch me in my husband's clothes most of the time, all right? Does that make me less feminine? No. Because the essence is feminine. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. You could be feminine AF in basketball. You could be more feminine in basketball shorts than somebody who's wearing a pencil skirt and high heels, because she's still trapped in the mind. She's in the space of performative energy, how it looks. And I'm not. Because when you meet with me, you meet soul. I'm in the essence of how it is. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I know you know what I'm saying. All right. All right. So she's focused on how it looks. She's performative. Wounded masculine. Wounded masculine is controlling. There we go. So we in the wounded feminine we saw she's needy. She needs saving and she wants authority. Perfect. The wounded masculine swoops in. He's the savior. I have everything you need. Follow this strategic check blah 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 blah. Right? And this is that same energy I was in this weekend where like I needed a good download. I needed to like figure it out. Like what's this program gonna look like? I want to bring this webinar. I want it to be powerful. I'm putting all this pressure on it. I'm trying to force it. What's it look like? And Ashani Ma, she even said to me when I channeled Dragon Consciousness, she was like, you can't create a divine feminine course from this very highly masculine place that you're in. You should probably take a nap. And I did take a nap and I did feel better that day. And then today was Monday and I was like, all right, we're in it. I've created the framework. I have the bullet points. The wounded masculine is controlling. It wants the bullet points. Once it has the bullet points, the feminine has been saved. It can move forward. See how we're taking a lot of fucking action here, but we're creating very minimal results. And she needs that. This is where she has daddy issues, where every man she attracts, she wants him to be a mirror image of her father. And if you're a man in the wounded masculine, every woman you attract, you want them to be in your mother. You want them to be like your mother, like this, like swampy feminine. They love each other. Wounded feminine, wounded masculine. Okay. There was a little tantra for you there. The wounded masculine is concerned with everybody fucking else's business. All right. They're concerned with everybody else's issues. All right. Because they think that if you're looking over there at how fucked up Sally Sue is, you want to talk about Sally, they're always talking about somebody else. You know, talking about how fucked up Sally Sue's life is. Right. And that's a projection. That's deflective energy. They're not willing to do the work on themselves. And they're always mad about everybody. Everybody else is always dumber than they are. Right? Everybody else, it's always fucking somebody else made them mad. Somebody else did some dumb shit. And it's that, again, that there's no such thing as a superiority complex. It's only ever inferiority. Okay, so because they feel inferior, they are constantly seeking ways to feel superior. You find somebody who doesn't have this in their baseline. They don't need to feel superior to you because they don't feel fucking inferior to anybody. They don't need to prove themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because they're already valuable. I have a feeling that when I post this video and I'm looking over here and the camera's over there, that you guys are going to be like, how come what's she looking at over here? Not you. Here's my camera thing, but it's like to the side of like the main event here where I am. So like I'm looking at like my ring light and like the actual like front, whatever. But I can look at you. All right. Concerned with everybody else's issues, projecting and deflective. This person, like wounded masculine, they don't feel anything, not feelings, except for anger. That's the only thing. Not rage, like that deep, delicious, divine, feminine rage. Just like anger. That's what they got. You know what I'm saying? Everything just makes them angry, annoyed, irritated. They feel entitled, and not like sacred entitlement, like I've done the work and so it will be mine. Right? That's a good energy. This is like, I deserve it. I'm getting like the image of like stamping your feet. Like, why isn't it working? You know? You ever worked with coaches who like, they put something out into the world, they don't get the results that they want, and they're in their wounded masculine, they're like stamping their feet. Excuse me. They're like, why isn't it working? I did all the things. I checked the boxes. I created the spreadsheets. Why isn't it working, right? It's that wounded masculine. Instead of getting curious, right? You'll see when we flip this and we start talking about the risen angles, like, it's a totally different energy to be in sacred entitlement where, like, I've put forth the energy and I hold the faith. I know that what I put out was fabulous. And now how can I continue to live in an energy where it just gets better and better and better and better for people, right? More attractive. They need others to change in order to be happy. They need external circumstances to change before they're going to be happy, before they allow themselves to be present, to feel joy. They need to have more money first. They need their partner to do the work. This one's huge. I work with a lot of women who are like, yeah, but it really is Bill. Like, he's the problem. I've been doing the work. Bill's not doing the work. How can I possibly, if Bill's not going to do, right? That's wounded masculine. You're looking outside of yourself. You're out of control. You don't have self-regulation. So you're looking to the world to regulate you in this very dysregulated world, which is a reflection of how fucking dysregulated you are. There's a gem. That was gold. Rigid. So when they're partnered, divine wounded feminine has like swampy, no boundaries, right? And then she hears this message from me, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna set up a boundary. You either clean your room or I'm kicking you out." Whoa, Tina, that's overkill. You feel me? And here's the thing, she probably doesn't mean it. And so all she did was teach you don't really need to clean your room, and your mom's going to say shit that she doesn't really mean. You see what I'm saying? And so rigid boundaries are like, I'm willing to cut people off for minor inconveniences, okay? That's really rigid boundaries. And like, what do we know about rigid bones, right? Like bones that are too hard and not flexible enough, like they break easily. This is bad for your mental, it's bad for your emotional. 0 out of 10. I've lived all this, by the way. And the only reason I can teach this masterclass with any type of authority is I see it every day in my clients, right? But also, I lived this shit, all right? Like, I used to be the toxic listen, my first marriage ended, one, because I was evolving and he wasn't. But it ended prior to that evolution because we were both toxic as fuck. I mean, we were mirrors for each other, you know what I mean? And like, I was toxic. And so I had a lot of this, making threats, not actually meaning what I was saying, chasing. God, the desperation. Okay. Weak-willed. Weak-willed. The wounded masculine is weak-willed. This is like, they don't want to put forth any effort to change their life. This also contributes to that entitlement factor. They just think like it should happen for me, right? And so they don't have the willpower to like, no, I'm gonna keep at it. You're not gonna see consistency. You're not gonna see resiliency. You're not gonna see like any type of like gusto. You know what I'm saying? All right, they puff their chest. Egocentric. I'm the alpha male. We know now that's not even a real fucking thing. There's no such thing as alpha males. That study was done on wolves in outside of their natural habitat. They were in captivity, right? And in their natural habitat, it doesn't happen. There is no such thing as an alpha male. That's not a real thing, okay? It happens when you put them in captivity. Now we have, one could argue, men in captivity. Again, I want women wealthy. I want good-hearted people to have money and to have power so that we can heal humanity, because we have men right now in captivity. And just like wolves, they're like, I'm the alpha. No, you're not. Sit down, okay? That just tells me that you're very insecure. If you, again, there's no such thing as a superiority complex. You feel inferior. You're just displaying it with a tantrum right now, Jake. You know what I'm saying? All right. Or Jill. Because women do this too. Women, same thing. They're in their wounded masculine, and it's the same thing. They, everything that you say, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I just lost my auntie. I'm grieving. And they're like, oh, I lost my auntie 2 years ago. You're like, yeah, my business isn't doing so great. And they're like, oh, my business I had to go bankrupt. Like, they're always trying to one-up you on trauma. They're always trying to one-up you on suffering. Right? Like, that's a woman in her wounded masculine. This is my favorite because I embody this one. Yeah, full transparency. This one's my weak spot for the wounded masculine. She can't have fun, and she's short-tempered. Yeah. I get very serious. I'm very serious. Very logical. When I'm in my brain, you better leave me alone. Very serious. And I wouldn't allow myself to have fun. I wouldn't even allow myself to do something like this. I would have put out my video earlier. Excuse me. Can you believe I'm drinking bubbly water and burping on camera? Excuse me. That would have never, I would have never allowed for to do a video in my husband's t-shirt at fucking 11 o'clock at night. Against the rules. That's not how we create. We're all new here. All right. The divine feminine is emerging. She's been putting in the work. I've been working with her for about a year now. Really worked with her heavily when Hurricane Helene came through my hometown. Whew. That was some divine feminine raging storm we got there, but it woke us up here in the mountains in the Appalachia. And I would have never allowed myself to be here with you in this very vulnerable state like I am right now. All right. And so if you're somebody who is very stuck in the mind, you're not going to be able to have fun. You're not going to be, when you're doing fun shit, you're going to be ruining it. You know what I mean? You're going to be like, I got to do laundry when I get home. You know what I mean? You're never present, right? That's the biggest thing here too, is that these wounded archetypes, they're never present. Okay. So that wraps it up for wounded feminine, wounded masculine. I want to talk to you now about the risen feminine, risen masculine, these risen archetypes. And I want you to be thinking, hopefully you've been making some notes here. I want you to be comparing. I want you to be thinking about the difference from one to the other and how you can shift this energy consciously. We're going to start with the risen feminine. The risen feminine is the creator, and she is creative. Literally the creator. Okay. God was a woman, a black woman, and we can fight if you don't believe me. All right. Women are the creators on this planet, period. They can take the 0.0001% of a man, take it into their fertile soil, and give you a fucking baby. They are the multipliers of this realm. All right. They are meant to be in a creative essence. And so they are literally channels. I'm going to start getting lit because I'm in it right now. They are literally channels for the fucking divine to flow through. And if you are a man listening to this with a feminine core, I want you to know, yes, you too. I want you to know that I see you. You are valid. And yes, you too. Okay. When you have a feminine core, a dominant feminine core, now you have both. Everybody has both. But again, one is passive, one is active. If your active magic is the feminine, get creative, hunty. That's where you need to live. All right. There's so much fulfillment and so much guidance. When you're tapped in like this, again, you're being guided. Something is living through you. You're not responsible for keeping your heart beating right now. Something else is keeping your heart beating. You can tap into that infinite intelligence and let it guide you through your day to day. And you can have more impact with less effort because you're tapped into the infinite potential that comes through that creative energy. All right. Your creative energy is also your sexual energy. Period. Okay, so if you're having libido issues, get creative. All right, if you're having creativity issues, get libido. You know what I'm saying? All right, listen. Raging storm. She is a raging storm. This is Hurricane Helene. All right, some people, they don't want to acknowledge the destroyer aspect of the divine feminine, and that's okay. All right, however, whatever's medicine for you. All right, right now I'm on my love and light shit. In 6 months, I'll be back in Endarkenment. I'll be talking to you about the divine feminine and how fucking gnarly the world is. But for right now, I'm on the path of enlightenment again. Everybody's going to go through these different paths. And when you go through Endarkenment, right? Okay, okay, guys, sorry, my kid, it's late. You know what I'm saying? Doing mom shit. Anyway, everybody's on whatever part of your path you're on. All right. Sometimes it's very healing to relax into the viciousness of the divine feminine, to recognize, and you can listen to Endarkenment. I'll link that below. Relaxing into this space that, like, yeah, sometimes shit is fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, like, the shit is ugly and it's hard, and like there's grief and there's pain, and there's something really healing in allowing that space to dwell wholly within you without trying to segment it or make it wrong or just live in the love and light, oblivious to people's pain or oblivious to your own pain. Okay, so sometimes the divine feminine is a raging storm, and sometimes that's absolutely required medicine for you. The risen feminine is self-centered. This one, she's self-centered because where the fuck else she's gonna center? All right, she's self-centered, and the biggest thing is that she's pouring into herself, and then others drink from the overflow. We see this backwards in our society. We see women have the highest percentage of autoimmune disorder. All right, and that's because they're constantly giving and never pouring into themselves, and so they're literally depleting their own life force to give to other people. But what the fuck can you pour from an empty cup for real? So women are actively, I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself, that's why I keep looking over here. They're actively resting, intentionally resting, and publicly resting. You know, you want your man to respond differently to you. Let him see you at rest. That's magnetic. You want your business to respond differently to you. Prioritize rest. Okay? Self-centered. She's centered in herself. She's not worried. Her man comes in. She's not like, what's wrong? Are you okay? The business, has a low day. She's not like, oh God, everything's falling apart. What's wrong with me? Right? Instead, she's in this beautiful space of divine surrender. She's actively resting. She's centered in herself. She's self-assured. The word confidence means ultimate self-trust. Okay, so she knows that she's going to have her own back. She's not worried with whatever's going on in the rest of the world with all the people. She's self-centered, and others get to drink from her overflow. This is the nectar. All right, she's fully present. The divine feminine is fully fucking present in every moment. She's not fidgeting, like she's not talking to you but thinking about the dishes. She's not like making love, but thinking about her to-do list tomorrow. She's fully present. She's immersed in life. People like to say all the time, they bring up that like, I cry in beautiful spaces. And like, I do. If you ever hang out with me, I fucking cry in beautiful spaces. Not only do I cry in beautiful spaces, but I cry when humans agree on things. This is a silly thing that I have. And it doesn't even have to be big. It can be like a parade. It's also like the biggest one that I have is like when like the like an ambulance is coming or like a fire truck is coming and like all the people pull over to the side. Like everybody just knows and they just pull tears. You know what I mean? Like when people agree on things, when like humans come together with like a collective like, right, yes, that's the right thing to do. Fucking I'm bawling. It's just anyway, she's immersed in life, man. Like the beauty of this flower, the beauty of this moment, the beauty of this sunset, how incredible it is. Earlier we collected a grasshopper that was stuck in the stairwell to our house here, and my daughter was like, oh, there's a grasshopper right there, and like he was big, he was beautiful, and we had to like capture him and go put him outside. And like I was so in that moment. Like it was so beautiful. The grasshopper was strange. You ever seen grasshoppers up close? Like they're kind of strange, right? Like little fucking aliens. And like we wouldn't put him outside and like he wouldn't get out of the jar, and like he was, when he got out, he's the same color as the grass, like the exact same color. Like that's immersed in life, right? Like you're noticing all these, you're not just going through the motions. You're in it. And this is how you tap in. Abraham Hicks, how you get into the vortex, how you get into the tapped in, tuned in, turned on space, because life is fucking incredible. It's a miracle that you're even fucking here right now. You know what I mean? And what a strange little world we live in that like, anyway, immersed in life. She's raw and untamed. Ooh, she's raw and untamed. You could catch her dancing the night away. You know what I'm saying? You could catch her up at 11 o'clock at night recording. It's 11:30 now. Recording a Divine Feminine video, because there are no rules. So she's not following a rule book. She's just following her heart. The only rule book is her intuition, is her heart, is the magnetic pull from her center to what it is that she desires in the world. Okay? She saves herself. She's not waiting on anybody to save her. She's going to get up and do what she's got to do. All right. You could actually probably put this in the risen masculine, but she saves herself. She's not looking for a savior. She's not trying to save anybody else. Again, she's self-centered. The better I get, the better everything gets, period. So that's my main focus. Irresistibly attractive. Her magnetic center is active. Therefore, she attracts and pulls whatever it is that she wants to her. Your magnetic center is your heart. And when it's activated, you're a magnet to everything you desire. Because here's the thing, like you are the divine. When you're in the divine feminine, you recognize that you are infinite cosmic intelligence. And everything that flows through you is infinite cosmic intelligence. And so what you want wants you. And what you want, it's not you wanting it. There's an infinite flow of the God force that wants this thing. I'm not talking about wants a thing like a zebra cake, though it can be that simple, right? I'm talking about like the desires that you feel in your bones, that you know that you're meant for more. You know that you're meant for bigger. You know that you're meant for greatness. I had a client call today, and he was talking about like the people that light him up are like the guy who created Toyota or Honda, the people who created Campbell's, like these incredible, like generational. And every time we have a conversation with him, I pull 10 of Pentacles. I pull generational wealth every single time he's in the room. And there's this force in him that knows that he's meant for something great. And he's so inspired and lit up by the people who are great. You wouldn't have that if it wasn't landing. I like to tell my clients, like when they get triggered by something, they're like, my husband called me a bad mom, you know? And I'm like, if he called you pumpkin pie, would you care? And I'm like, no. I'm like, right, because like it doesn't land. Like you're not a fucking pumpkin pie. If he calls you a bad mom and it lands, if you didn't feel like you were a bad mom at some point, it wouldn't land. You wouldn't care, right? But it lands with some, and of course it lands because all moms have like mom guilt. All moms are like, oh, am I doing this right? You know what I mean? So like maybe he's a jackass, you know, like and if it lands. The same is true for positive things. When you're positively triggered, when something lands and you're like, that's so epic, I want that, right? This isn't a lesson on manifestation, but we could definitely go into right here how people kill the dream. This is big work that we do in my magnum opus, where we allow desire to flow so that it can lead us where we need to go. And we're not killing it with like how. We're not killing it with the logical brain, that 0.0001% of who you are, that says like, how do we do it? I need the structure. I need the strategy, right? And then that's how the women that I work with and the men that I work with, because that client I was talking about earlier today, he's a man. The men that I work with, it's how they create miracles. He's 10x his business in the last year, right? And it's easier to 10x your business than it is to 2x your business. That's for a different lesson. We won't talk about that here today. Get into the magnum opus. Book a 15-minute discovery call with me if you're ready for the magnum opus, and let's get you fucking creating miracles. I'll help you master magic and miracles so you can create incredible results in not just your business, but your life and in your relationships with yourself. That's the most important, with yourself. She's desire-led for all the reasons that I just said. Not pain-led. She's not working from an aversion to pain. This is survival consciousness. She's in thriving consciousness. And we can't build something to thrive from a place of survival. We can, but it's usually an unstable foundation, and so it doesn't last very long. It'll collapse easily. She is desire-led and not pain aversion. She doesn't have a pain aversion. She has a... You get it. She's expressive and safe. So she's going to tell you how she feels, but she's going to take radical accountability for it. She's not going to make your fault that she feels that way. She's going to tell you how she feels, and she is going to be a safe place even when she's angry, right? And if she's feeling like she might not be a safe place, she's going to ask for space. Okay, that way everybody stays safe even when she's upset. She's not explosive. She's intuitive. Tapped into the body. She's intuitive. She's divinely led. So there's no logical, I'll go do this thing because it's the right thing to do. If I'm on my way to the store and the intuition is to stop at this place, then I stop at that place. If the intuition is to go to the museum in the middle of the day when I have no fucking reason to, I go to the museum in the middle of the day because that's what my intuition wants me to do. And I'm constantly, because I recognize that my intuition is the through line. It is the golden thread between me and what I desire. I follow it. She's focused on how it is, not how it looks. She doesn't care how it looks. She cares how it is. All right. This is where the essence comes in, right? If you are in the divine feminine, it's not performative. And that performance energy is a wounded heart chakra. All right. We do that big work in the magnum opus. So get in, book that 15-minute call. Performative energy is a heart chakra wounding. Okay. And, it's going to have you focused on how things look, and you're never going to be able to really feel fulfilled in yourself, because that fulfillment comes from integrity, from wholeness, from self-trust, from doing what you said you were going to do, being who you say you are. She surrenders to the masculine. She doesn't serve the masculine. She surrenders to the masculine, and she first to her own inner masculine, and then naturally to the external masculine. Surrender is a lot different than bowing. She's not bowing down to him. She's not worshiping. She's not blindly doing whatever the fuck he says. She's following her intuition first, but she recognizes that the masculine is the problem solver. The masculine has the strategies. The masculine is the form that is the world. Okay? And so she recognizes that she can do all the energetic work on the back end, and that space-time it's going to move when it moves. She's not trying to control that. She's surrendered. This is active surrender. She's moving in alignment with the recognition that the external world will eventually change, mirror what it is that she desires, but that it might not be instantaneous. Sometimes it is. Violent alchemy, sometimes you do have instantaneous, miraculous results, but sometimes they're magical. It's a step-by-step process. She has to hold the faith while the masculine rearranges itself around her. She's embodied. I think you get it. I think you get it. You know what I'm saying? She's embodied. She's embodied. She's embodied. She's connected to her body because she recognizes it for the divine, intuitive, incredible mechanism that it is. Listen, nobody handed me a playbook. I found out I was pregnant. Nobody was like, here's how you grow eyeballs. That shit just happened. I'm in surrender to the fact that something that moves through me knows how to create eyeballs and knows precisely when it's important to create eyeballs and not lungs. You see what I'm saying? Trusting. She's trusting of herself first and then trusting of others. And if you're like, I can't be trusting, Dawn, I've been burned. Yes, you can. I'm going to give you a little magnum opus here. You can trust everybody all the time. Dawn, he's a liar, right? Trust him to lie. Yeah, I said what I said, right? You see somebody they're going to tell you exactly who they are the first time around. If you trust yourself, you're not going to find yourself ignoring red flags, because when you trust yourself and you see a red flag, you go, I can trust you to lie to me. When you trust yourself and you see a red flag, you can say, I can trust you to steal from me. You see what I'm saying? So somebody else being who they are doesn't need to make you less trusting. You can be a trusting person. And that starts with trusting yourself. And that's what the etymology of the word confidence means: self-assured. It means self-trusting. I'll have my own back regardless of what happens to me. Now, this bleeds beautifully into the risen masculine. The risen masculine has solid boundaries without rigidity. So he sets forth boundaries. Those boundaries are enforceable, meaning that they have a clear consequence that he is willing to uphold. Excuse me. And they're not rigid, okay? So there's room for error there, but not for disrespect, right? There's room for error there, but not for self-abandonment, okay? Not for self-deprecation, whatever it is. And he does this because he protects what's precious. And the thing that is most precious to the masculine is the feminine, okay? So he protects what is precious for him. This is the space of sacrificial magic. He is willing to sacrifice anything to keep her sacred. Those two words in etymology have the same root. To sacrifice means to make sacred. He's provisional. Now you have both, okay? So if you're listening to this and your immediate thought is like, oh, I need a sugar daddy because he's provisional. No, that's that same wounded feminine. I need to save your energy. When you are in your divine feminine, divine masculine, you are also provisional. That doesn't always mean that you are the breadwinner, but it does mean that you support yourself. Whatever that looks like. That's an energetic thing. I'll let you work that out, okay? Here we go. This one's fun. The risen masculine serves the feminine. Now he's going to lead, right? We're going to surrender to him, but he's going to serve the divine feminine. Meaning, and like, again, put this backwards, right? Like, you have the 99.999% of who you are, that divine feminine, that massive empty space, that incredible infinite potential, serving the 0.0001% of matter and proof and fact. No, the 0.0001 is in servitude of the divine feminine, that 99.999% of infinite potential that you truly are. The risen masculine is trustworthy. The divine feminine can trust. And that's because she can trust herself, because her divine masculine is trustworthy. All right? I'm on a 40-day Kriya right now, Jupiter Kriya. I'm on day, whatever the fuck, time's not real. And the other night, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I remembered I didn't do my Jupiter Kriya today. Guess whose ass was on the mat at 1:30? This one, because I'm somebody I can trust. Okay, I didn't beat myself up for forgetting. I didn't decide I'll just start again tomorrow. I got up as soon as I remembered, and I went and did my Kriya. Okay, because I'm somebody I can trust. You see how that works? I'm somebody I can trust. The divine masculine is the one who got me off my ass and onto my mat at 1:30 in the morning. Because the divine masculine was like, we are somebody who can be trusted. That right there is worth its weight in gold. I mean, if that's the only thing you take from this entire masterclass, like, that covers the cost of the entire Mysterium. Incredible. Trustworthy, leads, is strategic, and builds a solid foundation. We're going to take a chapstick break. Now, am I the only person, like, you feel like your lips are dry? And then all of a sudden you're a crazy person? Like, if I am like, my lips are dry, I can't think of anything else until they're not dry anymore.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Solid foundation. This is where integration comes in. Integrity. The integrity of your structure, the integrity of your foundation is so important. You would not build a multi-million-dollar home. You would not build a sky rise on a faulty foundation. The divine masculine lays that foundation, and that foundation isn't working with the material world. And it looks like exactly what I said. I'm going to get up at 1:30 and go do my Kriya because I said I would. Period. Listen, my lover was asleep. None of y'all would have fucking known. I didn't have to tell anybody. I would have known. That's what the fuck matters. That's how you build a solid foundation on which you can build anything you want. But you build that foundation inside yourself first, working with the masculine. I make commitments to myself and I keep those commitments to myself, not to others. That's performative. All the time people are like, I'm really good at keeping my word to other people, but not necessarily to myself. That's performative energy. That's again that heart chakra. Get into the mysterium. Get into the magnum opus. Get into the magnum opus. We do that big work, okay? We got to have a solid foundation. Keep our word to ourselves. Some of the ways that you can embody the divine feminine, one of my favorite books is Whole Body Sex. I don't remember who it's by. It's fabulous. I'll link it in the show notes. Whole Body Sex, they teach you so many things, breath work, but one of my favorite teachings, and actually when I did this, my chiropractor was like, what the fuck have you been doing? You have an entirely brand new nervous system. What? Like, mind you, when I went to see him, when I first started going to see him like 2 years ago, it was because I couldn't turn my neck all the way to my shoulders. I was fucked up in my system. This time I went and saw him 2 years later, and I hadn't seen him in a long time, probably since Hurricane Helene. And I went back to see him after reading Whole Body Sex, and he was like, this is a fucking miracle. This is golden aura. You have a brand new fucking nervous system. And it was from this one practice, okay? And it is intuitive motion. I have here, this is how you practice listening to the wisdom of the body without judgment or restricting the flow. So this is quite literally how you learn to trust your intuition by trusting your body. Your body wants to move in a very specific way. Most of the time we go, that's silly. People are going to laugh at me. I'll laugh at me. I don't want to be cringe in my own kitchen. So we don't do it. And guess what happens? That energy that was in you that wanted to move, energy in motion, emotion, is now stagnant. It's stuck. It's stuck in the fascia. It's stuck in the tissue. And you create rigidity. How we've been talking about fucking rigidity and flow, okay? Like you can act, this is a very physical, visceral experience. So instead, you just let your body move however the fuck it wants. Like you just like, whatever it wants to do. Like I was swinging like a wild man. Like I'm like putting my, like, like I'm like up and down and in and out of the floor and like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, and I'm like listening to music and I'm like dancing, like really, and then I'm slow and I'm like hugging myself. Whatever your body wants to do, you let it do. Okay? And you don't judge it and you don't hinder it and you don't go, that's silly. You just let it do its thing. And what happens is you create supreme trust and you also open the communication channel back up between you and this incredible mechanism, this vessel that you've been gifted as a spirit to move. I'm seeing the chariot in my mind, to move through in the world. Some other embodiment practices. Excuse me. The yogis, I learned this from Sadhguru or Osho. Maybe Bhajan, whatever. The yogis do not restrict the flow of the body. And so they don't believe in like holding your poots. They don't believe in that. They don't believe in holding burps. They don't believe in holding sneezes. Whatever the body wants to do, you let the body do, because otherwise you're restricting the natural flow of the body. Now, I'm not out here. I'm not finna just poot in front of people, okay? Like, I'm not there yet. But my little burps that I have from my Waterloo, y'all get those. All right, so move slowly and with intention. Specifically, walk slowly. Just start practicing walking slowly. And what you'll notice is you'll start to notice when you're in a rush, when you're like rushing to get somewhere, right? We want you to move slowly and with intention. This allows for space in the body. It allows for presence. It allows for full body movement, the hip swing. It allows us to take in the space. And there's something incredibly magnetic about a woman who is not rushed. All right. Actively resting, publicly resting. Follow your intuition and desire. This is called spontaneous living, and it is living with trust and surrender. So again, it's midday, you're on your lunch break, and your intuition is like, go to the museum. And you're like, I have meetings after this. Like, no, you go to the museum. Okay, you go where you're called. You follow that intuition. You're willing to sacrifice anything. Divine masculine is willing to sacrifice anything for the desires of the divine feminine because it's leading you somewhere. All right, you have to use your sort of discernment here. Okay, because like people who are addicted, like you're gonna have impulse. I'm not talking about impulse that's like from the animal brain that's just habit chatter. I'm talking about desire from your bones. Book your 15-minute discovery call. Okay. So the magnum opus is enrolling and we do this big work. I'm going to help you discern between those false wants, those empty, vapid wants, and true desire and your path, following your intuition. Because that's the number one question I get with people. They come in and they're brand new to this and like, how do I tell the difference between like a self-sabotaging thought or just a thought and like my intuition? And first of all, I can always tell because like intuition doesn't happen here. That's how, you know what I mean? Anyway, follow your intuition, desire-led, spontaneous living. Be present. Don't fidget. You don't need to have your phone out all the time, any moment that you're alone, any moment that you're not in conversation. Just lean back, sit in the restaurant, look around. Look or make eye contact with people. Be present in your moments. Make eye contact. Know when to look away. Anybody who knows the rock star Youngblood, I'm like blushing just talking about it. He does really good at this. Like he's so good at like making eye contact with you in just like the most flirtatious, delicious way, and then he looks away at the perfect moment. Marilyn Monroe was a master of this. Okay, so make eye contact and know when to look away to create mysterium and allure. You flirt with life. That's not on here. That's what I want you. That's flirt with life. Make life your lover and move into an active relationship with it. Carry yourself with intention everywhere you go. This is a practice. It's not going to come naturally tomorrow. You have a habit built up of being unintentional, of being non-present, of being stuck in the mind, constantly siphoning your energy to the future or siphoning your energy to the past. And so presence and carrying yourself with intention, these things are going to come with practice. Speak slowly, speak clearly. Lead with curiosity and warmth, not statements and demands. Your husband is going to love this. Your masculine partner is going to love this. Because when you lead with curiosity and warmth, they open up to you. When you lead with statements and demands, they close off. Okay? The woman, the female center, the feminine center sets the emotional tone for the home. Leave space for mystery. Be interesting. Don't flaunt or boast to prove it. Know when to leave holes in your story to evoke curiosity. You don't want to like, you meet somebody, you just trauma dump. You give them everything all in one go. It's repulsive, bro. It's repulsive. Instead, I want you to leave space for mystery. Give them a little, let them ask questions. And when you answer the question, give them a little and let them ask more questions, right? This is how you become attractive. This is how you lean back. The divine feminine is leaning back. And the divine masculine has to lean forward to meet her. The divine masculine's like, give me more. Tell me more. Who are you, incredible woman? You do this in client calls and sales calls as well. Later on, when I record Unapologetic Sales, I'll talk about power plays. And the most magnetic thing you can be in a sales conversation is the divine feminine. You let your client be the active participant, be the divine masculine, and they want what you have. So you lean back because you hold all the value. Same thing in relationships, ladies. Okay. Understate your welcome. Always. Be desired with intentional absence. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Be fucking absent. Leave before the party ends. Never stay until they're throwing people out. Leave before they're tired of you. Leave before the vibe starts to die. Know when to leave. Okay? Know when to leave. Understay you're welcome in everything. In businesses, in relationships, in careers, in conversations with friends, in conversations with family. Leave before you're asked to. Understand you're welcome. Pour into you first and let others drink from your overflow. I think I covered that pretty well earlier. Rest actively, regularly, intentionally. Let the world see you resting. Let your husband, let your business, let your money, your money mind, let them see you resting intentionally. Because when you are rested, what you mean you got time, girl? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you mean you a vibe right now, right? Actively resting puts and again, you're the emotional center of the home. So when you are actively rested, everyone else recalibrates to that energy. You want to alter as a woman, especially as an awakened woman, you have this in your back pocket now, right? So like not every woman has this in your back pocket, right? Because you're part of the 10% that actually fucking showed up to the end of this video. Not everybody even did that. So now you have a secret weapon, because when you rest actively, when you recognize that you're the emotional center of a room, you can change the vibe just by being in it. Nobody even knows what game you're playing. All right, wise woman, let's wrap this up. You are going to get 9 journal prompts at the end of this. Do the journal prompts. The only person you're gypping if you don't do them is you. Period. When I tell you to do a thing, do it. The reason that my client was able to 10x his business in the last year is because he journals. When I tell him to journal, he journals. Period. Okay? I love a woman who can do what she is asked for her own healing, for her own benefit. I don't ask you this because it's good for my fucking health if you do the journal prompts. I tell you this because this shit works. Do the digging. Get into the journal prompts, okay? You can also join the 27-day free Dark Goddess activation if you haven't already gone through that. That's going to help you with some of that darker feminine, some of the shadow work, some of the people-pleasing tendencies that women tend to have. That's free. You can sign up. I'll drop the link for that in the show notes. And then book your 15-minute discovery call to do the deep work and fully embody your divine feminine, clear the chakras, and become the overflow that will then bleed into your business, that will then bleed into your relationships, that will bleed in and permeate the rest of your life. That's the great work that we do in the Magnum Opus together, okay? And so book your 15-minute discovery call with me. Let's find out if we have magic to make in that container together. If you want your business to succeed, you're struggling in your relationships, you want a deeper connection to the divine, that's what that program, it's called the Magnum Opus because it is the great work. It is holistic. I'm a ninja, right? Every aspect. We're going to do the shadow work. We're going to do the inner child work. We're going to clear the chakras, all of it. Okay. You're going to be completely transformed on the other side of the 6-month container. All right. So make sure you book that. I'll drop that link in the show notes as well. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. Listen, wise woman, I love you so much, and you fucking got this.